All right, Jake, this is going to be a relatively brief. I'm not saying short. That's where we'll jinx that word.
Yep.
It's going to be kind of an update on the Street Fighter V netcode thing we talked about a little
Oh.
while ago. And not to worry, non-FGC fans out there, I'm going to tie it back into other esports as well by the end. But quick recap anyway, Street Fighter V came out in 2016. And at the time, people told Capcom, hey, the online play for this game sucks. It's just garbage. It's really, really laggy. Nobody's enjoying it, right? And the problem remained relatively unchanged all 4 years up until about maybe month, 2 months ago, where a community member put out a mod that essentially fixed a lot of the problems with Street Fighter V's netcode. Broke parts of the game as well, but hey, it fixed the large majority of the problems that people were experiencing. Now, this past week, Capcom has released the Champion Edition of Street Fighter, which is essentially just, new version of the game, new characters, new DLC, etc., etc. And they've removed that fan mod from the game. Can no longer use it with Street Fighter whatsoever. And they put in their own kind of band-aid on the netcode situation that kind of fixes it, kind of not, very much doesn't. But like it's something.
Do you hear yourself when you say these kind of things?
Yeah, I absolutely do, and I feel like if you follow the train, it kind of makes sense. But I totally understand anybody who doesn't, isn't following along. I'll say this: the fix works for some people. It works if you have great internet, but if you don't have great internet, then you're probably out of luck here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to touch on is the community reaction to this, actually. Because the entire Street Fighter and a good part of the general FGC as well kind of jumped down Capcom's throat about this because initial reports were horrible. The netcode fix wasn't working for anybody. The mod was gone. Everybody was unhappy. They couldn't play the game properly. And it was just fury for like 2 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
They were going after developers at Capcom. They were going after Ono. They were like, people were posting videos of them burning their copies of the game,
That's classic.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That's classic gamers right there.
It was a lot, yeah. But anyway, turns out after everybody calmed down a little bit, they drank some water, they went home, saw their kids for a second, backed away from Twitter, and they're like, oh, maybe it's not that bad actually, after all. Maybe it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's fine, right? And that reaction in general and what caused it has me thinking a lot about what we see a lot with Call of Duty in particular.
Oh boy! Please don't call out any Call of Duty fans.
Oh no
They're
worries.
savages. How do you relate those two?
I'm just gonna say that the reason the Street Fighter community reacted so strongly in this case, in large part, feels like because Capcom very much lost their trust like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And over the course of those 4 years, by just not fixing the problem.
Yeah.
And then by removing a fix to the problem and throwing a Band-Aid on it on their end and not really saying much about it. And I'm worried we're seeing a lot of that with Call of Duty Modern Warfare right now. Because I see a lot of the glitches in Modern Warfare, even though I don't play it. But just because I work on their website.
They pop up every week, probably.
Tons. Like, oh my wow, this game is so broken on so many levels. And I'm very concerned about what the breaking point is for the Call of Duty community, at which point they're going to just lose trust in the brand overall.
Yeah, and this is something you've stressed before in the past as well. And I thought it was something that, honestly, with Blackout was going to be if you're going to see a breaking point, gosh, the way they treated that competitive game and also the first launch of their BR, I thought it was pretty bad. I mean, at a certain point, though, it's like they haven't reached that breaking point, and they've done some pretty abysmal things. So I don't know if there is a breaking point with Call of Duty fans.
I think they're kind of lucky in the sense that fans can kind of say, oh, but that wasn't Call of Duty, that was Treyarch.
Yeah.
Or they can say, oh, this wasn't Infinity War, this was, Sledgehammer.
And then they're like, oh, they won't get it for another year, so it'll be fine.
Yeah. But we're kind of coming to the point where it's like every dev is making mistakes now.
Yeah.
And so at what point, I'm wondering, is the community just going to be like, well, I mean, none of you are good anymore? And realistically speaking, Infinity Ward isn't Infinity Ward anymore. Most of the great people from Infinity Ward went to Respawn and that's why Apex is great.
I know, and I feel like every game will eventually reach this point.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends how far down the line it is. I feel like with Call of Duty, it's been going on for so long. I don't know if you can even put a timestamp on when it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, you definitely can't. I just feel like we're getting closer to that point because now people are talking more on social media and realizing, oh, problem's spreading, as opposed to just being like, maybe my game is just weird.
I would say
Yeah.
we're definitely getting closer, but I don't.
Mhm.
I still don't know if it's really possible. It's built up such a large fan base. I think maybe a likely comparison as well would be a game like Fortnite.
Mhm.
Fortnite has broken their game, and again, it's a fresher game, fresher title, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But Epic Games, with the amount of frequent updates they used to have a couple seasons back, and stretching back even to its initial release, they've broken so many things, but they fix them, and then I don't know. They've somehow kept their fan base really entangled. So I don't know if it's actually a possibility with how great the Call of Duty fan base or player base truly is.
I would say the additional thing that could really drive this home is the fact that we're reaching a point where indie developers have more potential than ever, and a lot of other game studios are experimenting with game mechanics they may not have touched before. And I would not be surprised if some studio was just like, oh, let's just make Call of Duty, but just better than Call of Duty, and then just like call it a day, and then that's the end of Call of Duty.
I thought you were going to go the angle maybe eventually, way down the line, we get a studio in there, and all of a sudden Call of Duty is like, hey, how about you help us out with this game instead of Treyarch? Or that's obviously probably going to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think
I'd almost say that's more likely than the game itself dying out because the players don't.
I don't think they won't do that. They'll just swap devs out of the studio. They've already done that a couple times with Treyarch and Sledgehammer and
Yeah.
stuff. They'll just be like, oh, yeah, we're going to move you from here. I think this Call of Duty coming out this year, actually, Sledgehammer is working on it. Apparently, they messed it up, and so they swapped it over to now they're working under Treyarch, I believe, on a new Black Ops. It was going to be a different game altogether.
I just can't see a point in it happening, especially this year with them, going to a league and all of a sudden breaking record sales. I don't see it happening anytime soon. I feel like you're right, way down the line, but at this point, it's like.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying this is going to happen like, oh, Call of Duty 2020.
It's like
going to kill Call of Duty.
Gamers rise up, but gamers also game. So it's like, we'll complain all we want, but we'll still play it.
Well, I've
you
stopped.
won't, but I would say you're in the few minority because I still bought the title. I knew all the issues, and so we'll see if it ever makes an impact. Whether it be with fighting games, whether it be with Fortnite, whether it be with Call of Duty. When will what's the first big title going to be that actually dies out based off player feedback?
We'll find out with Project A.
I freaking know. Don't hope so, but I kind of do. I don't know.
Yeah, right.